A new year brings with it a new old pedal. This is the Behringer Fuzz Bender that came out in the tail end of 2024, and it's a very affordable take on the classic Mark 1.5 tone bender fuzz. Now, you've heard the other demos online. This pedal sounds excellent, and it's surprisingly versatile considering that you've only got two controls and a switch to move between two different modes. Now, we know it sounds great, but how does it compare to other tone bender type pedals, specifically more expensive tone bender type pedals? That's what we're going to be doing in this video, and I'm going to put you guys through a challenging blind test to see if you can hear the difference between the Behringer Fuzz Bender, the JHS Bender, the Keeley Fuzz Bender, and a very excellent digital emulation that I've got on my ToneX One pedal. So what I'm going to do is play a bunch of different riffs for you, and I've labeled the pedals A, B, C, and D. Now that'll remain consistent throughout, so pedal A, let's just say the Behringer might be pedal A, that would be pedal A throughout the duration of all of the riffs. So what I want you to do in the comments is guess, is the Behringer A, B, C, or D? And do the same for the JHS Bender, the Keeley Fuzz Bender, and the ToneX, if you can manage that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think, and whether or not at the end of the day, you think it's actually that important how different or how similar they sound. But just a tiny bit of info before we get started with the riffs then. This is the Behringer Fuzz Bender. It'll set you back about 50 or 60 euros or dollars depending on where you're based. It's based on a Mark 1.5 tone bender, and while there's no concrete info out there, we can assume that it has silicon transistors in it. You have a level and an attack control, and these are both going to be dimed for the duration of the riffs in this video because that's the best setting for me, and I'll be using the guitar's volume knob to taste to make it a bit more versatile and to clean it up a bit. We also have a two-way switch here to move between original and mod modes, but I'll be on original for the duration of the video because I've never managed to get any decent tones out of the mod setting. So this is the Behringer Fuzz Bender, and next on the list is the JHS Bender. Now this is from the brand's excellent Legends of Fuzz series, and this is probably my favorite fuzz, let alone a bender, at the moment. It's super versatile, it does loads of amazing sounds, it cleans up really well, and it's not fussy at all as to where it goes in my signal chain either. Now this is based on a Mark III tone bender. It's based on one that came out of London in 1973 in fact, and that means that in addition to the volume and attack controls, we have a tone knob as well. And there's also a two-way switch here that you can push in to give yourself the JHS mod mode that gives you a boost in mids and a boost in gain as well. But I'll be on the original mode for the duration of this video, and actually most of the knobs will be on 12 o'clock because I find that an excellent starter setting with this pedal, and you can do so much with it with everything at noon. So this is the JHS Bender Fuzz. This will set you back about $180 in North America, or about 220 euros over in Europe. It's a fantastic pedal and I heartily recommend it. But will you be able to guess it? Looking forward to hearing what you guys think. Now the third pedal is the Keeley Fuzz Bender. This is also based on a Mark III Bender, and this is a really nasty, aggressive, sputtery, modern take on a fuzz. Now it's a hybrid fuzz, and it contains silicon and germanium transistors, whereas the JHS, I think I just forgot to say, has silicon transistors in it, and this one has a few more options in terms of tonal tweaking as well. So we've got a volume and a fuzz control. We've also got an active two-band EQ for bass and treble, so you can really cut and boost your treble and bass to your heart's content and really sculpt your fuzz tones. We also have a bias control here in the middle, and what this does as you turn it up, well, it's biasing stuff inside the pedal, including the transistors, and it's really acting a bit like a gate as well. So the more you turn it up, the more it starts to give you that sputtery, cutty-offy, splattery, velcro-y fuzz that so many modern players like Jack White really, really love. This is an excellent fuzz. Like I said, it's super aggressive, but you can tame it too. And for the majority of this video, in fact, I think for all of it, I'll have the bias knob way down, which means that it gives us a more smoother and more sustaining tone. So it's a bit more similar to the other pedals on display. But just so you know, you can get amazing, sputtery, velcro-y fuzz tones out of this pedal. Now the Fuzz Bender will set you back around $149 in North America, or around 170 euros in Europe, so it's between the JHS and the Behringer in price. And the fourth contender in today's blind test, well, it's the digital one. It's the ToneX One with a tone bender fuzz in it. Now I know you might be turning your nose up at this, but listen to the sound settings and I think you might have a harder job than you maybe realize in guessing between the four. Now the ToneX One is an excellent little box. It does so many different things. things, and it was my most essential piece of gear for 2024. You can watch my video about that elsewhere if you'd like to. But it's amazing as a stomp box as well. And I was recently going through the ToneNet software and looking at the different free captures available, and I found a fantastic Tone Bender style fuzz. And I will tell you what that capture is based on in the big reveal part of this after the riffs are done. But it's an excellent sounding thing, and that really convinced me to put it in today's comparison. And I really wouldn't be that surprised if a few of you are fooled by the sound and the performance of this, because it really is excellent. And I have to say that it feels great as well. This is the first piece of digital modeling gear that's ever felt right to me, and that continues with the Tone Bender capture that I'm going to demonstrate for you in a second. But anyway, you'll pay about 150, 160 euros for this pedal, maybe 170, 180 dollars in North America. It does many different things to the other pedals on this list, of course, but there you go. That's the price point for this one. So it's time to compare these four pedals, and it's time for us to get our virtual blindfolds on and see if we can work out which is the Behringer, which is the JHS, which is the Keeley, and which is the ToneX. Now, I've kept my rig very simple for today's comparison because often fuzz pedals can be a bit fussy when it comes to where they go in your signal chain, and the Behringer Fuzz Bender is no different there. So I'll be going directly from my guitar straight into the pedal, no tuners in the middle or anything like that. From the pedal straight into the front end of my Hughes & Kettler Black Spirit 200 amplifier with just a smidgen of reverb activated on the amp to give us a bit more space and three-dimensionalness to the tone. Then we're going from the Redbox AE on the back straight into my audio interface, and that's going straight into Logic Pro X on my Mac. And no post-production has been done on any of the tones whatsoever. You're going to be hearing exactly what I played when I recorded each of the riffs. Now, when it comes to the guitar, I'm going to be using a Harley Benton ST Modern, which is a fantastic sub $200 take on the HSS Stratocaster type of guitar. Full in-depth video of that elsewhere if you'd like to watch that afterwards. But it's a great guitar to demo fuzz with. You've got the lovely neck single coil pickup, you've got a bridge humbucker that you can split down to single coils too, and you've got the in-between sounds as well, and we're going to be using all of those during the riffs in the video. And if you'd like to know which guitar pickup I've got active, or whether I've got the guitar's volume rolled off, or whether I'm on the clean or the crunch channel of the amp for any of the riffs, that'll be written down there in the description. Enough talk then, it's time to play these four bad boys now, and it's time for you to get your virtual blindfolds on and let me know whether you get it right or wrong. Perhaps during the riffs you can write down there a little comment telling me which you think is the Behringer, which you think is the JHS, which is the Keeley, and which is the ToneX, and maybe you can then edit that comment or write another comment afterwards once I've revealed which was which, and let me know if you got it right. Time for some fuzzy riffs though, and the big reveal's coming right after. So that was the battle of the modern tone bender pedals, and I hope you enjoyed the playing, the fuzz, the riffs, and the tones. And I hope by now you've left your guesses and you've kind of worked out which one you think is the Behringer and which the others are. But now it's time for me to make that big reveal, and I can reveal to you that the Behringer Fuzz Bender was B. So there you go, it was the second of the four. A was the Keeley Fuzz Bender, B was the Behringer, C was the JHS Bender, and D was the ToneX One with a tone bender fuzz capture. And I've got the little screenshot here where you can see which one it was, but it was actually one called Dark Bender, which was captured from a JHS Bender pedal. So there you go, that's why it's got its place on this list, and I really think it handles itself pretty darn well. But how about you guys? Did you get it right? Did you work out which was the Behringer and which was the ToneX? Did you get all of them wrong? Let me know your thoughts down there. I'm really interested to hear what you think. And what I also would like to know is whether or not you think it's actually that much of a difference, and whether or not, if you're playing live or if you're playing in a mix or anything like that, you'd hear the difference between these, because they are in many cases very similar sounding pedals. Even though the Behringer, for example, is a Mark 1.5 fuzz bender and the Keeley and the JHS are Mark 3s, for example, we have germanium and silicon transistors in the Keeley, but just silicons in the JHS, probably just silicons in the Behringer, and just digital circuitry in the ToneX. Do you really think this whole gear thing is worth it in that sense? Let me know your thoughts. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. And that's why this video's kind of come about for me as well, because when I bought the Behringer, I started to test it against some of the others, and I realized they all sound great. They're all very versatile. They all do that fuzzy vintage thing, even the ToneX, and they all perform very similarly too. Now, I did make sure that I was doing this as purely as possible in terms of rig, so each pedal was done one after the other, guitar into pedal, pedal into amp, amp into recording software, and that was it, really, to get these pedals as pure as they can possibly be. So which of these pedals is best, and which should you buy if you're in the mood for some tone bending fuzz? Well, the Behringer is a great option, and it's a really affordable way to get your hands on what is a very vintage performing fuzz. Now, it's one that I think you really do have to dime the controls on and use the original mode to get proper decent fuzz sounds out of. That's just the thing with some of the older fuzz circuits, like a fuzz face, you've really got to dime it. And you can then use your guitar's volume control, just gently roll it off, and tiny little millimeter adjustments will give you great differences in tones, and you get really beautiful overdriven sounds and sparkly cleans as well. It's a wonderful sounding pedal in that regard. If you want to go more modern, and if you want an even more versatile pedal that's going to play more nicely with the rest of your rig, well, the JHS Bender is a fantastic option. I really love this pedal. It works really well for anything that I personally like to do, and it's great for the indie rock and the alt rock that I really spend most of my time playing. I just wish that the knobs were on the top, but that's a personal thing. But this is a great pedal, really worth checking out if you've got the chance to. And if you really want to specialize in that kind of sputtery, velcro-y, cutty-offy fuzz with that gated effect, and if you really want the aggression, well, the Keeley is a fantastic choice there as well. With this bias control, you can really move between a smoother fuzz and a really broken sounding amp, which some people really love and some people don't. But if you want that, this is the one to get. And finally, if you're that modern digital person, well, the ToneX does a fantastic job. It's 99% of the way there, I think, in many of these riffs. It sounds great, it feels really good as well. And the one big difference for me when I was playing these riffs was that the ToneX reacts just a little bit different for me when you're rolling off the guitar's volume control. Now, with the 3 analog pedals, you really can make tiny, minuscule adjustments and get big differences in your tone. But with the ToneX, I found that I was rolling it down in a much more conventional way to get differences in my tone, and I lost a bit more high end and treble and sparkle with the ToneX as I rolled it off a bit more. So it's not quite there, but this was a free capture that I found in about 90 seconds, and it really did a great job, and I'm sure there are going to be better ones out there. And I could of course make one for myself, which might even perform better at some point in the future. But there you go, that's a different story. Today what I wanted to do was show you that the Behringer Fuzz Bender is a really great pedal, especially for 59 euros. If you're after a tone bender style fuzz, it's going to be a great choice. It's got loads of mojo, it sounds great for vintage sort of riffs. If you want to do anything from Led Zeppelin and the Beatles through to modern garage rock and stuff like that, it's fantastic for those kinds of things. But there are many other great options as well. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts down there. Are there any other fuzz benders or tone benders that I should get my hands on or compare the Behringer to? Let me know your thoughts, give me your ideas, and I'll film as many as I can this year, because I'm still deep in the fuzz rabbit hole and I'd like to do as much with this beautiful effect as I can. That's been it for today's video though. Please give me a like and a sub and all that stuff, because that really does help. But I've been Rich, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.